All right, we are live right now and good afternoon. Magandang tanghalian po sa ating lahat. It's another Wednesday, lunchtime, 12:06. And this is Raymond. Kasama po natin syempre ang ating co-host for Health Revolution, Ma'am Betty Aw. And with our special guest, si Monique Jaramillo-Seneres of OFW family. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello. Yeah. How was your week?
Busy as ever, diba? Ang tao naman pag may may direksyon ng buhay, daming kailangan gawin. Kulang ng 24 hours.
Especially with this pandemic, work from home. Medyo mas
daming kailangan ng tulong, diba? Madaming issues, madaming health issues, financial issues. Yan. Lahat
mental health issues.
Oo. And dental health. Buti nga yung dentist ko nag-start na nga mag-clinic eh. So we're very fortunate today, that we have Monique here. Kasi I think you work with one of the most affected sector ng society natin for the pandemic. Kasi ang daming nilang umuwi, ang daming namatay din, di ba, because of the COVID. So, I hope sana through our program, mabawasan natin kahit na konti ang mga paghihirap nila. Whether it's emotionally or spiritually, diba? Sometimes kasi you just need a friend to talk to, right? Oo.
Correct.
So, Nick, how is your job now with the OFW? Sa tingin mo, ano ba ang mga major issues ng mga OFWs natin ngayon?
Well, definitely po, a lot of our OFWs were laid off from their work, either terminated permanently or in the midst of the pandemic, no work, no pay. A lot were repatriated, as you mentioned. So they are either in the waiting process, they are under quarantine, going through many transitions right now. So there's a lot of uncertainty for them.
That's right.
As we know, the OFW is always the breadwinner of the family, so they're very troubled not being able to provide now.
That's right. And everybody was caught by surprise, and this is not only here in the Philippines. The sad thing is, of course, OFWs are all over the world, and this pandemic is global, so it's really affected all of us and mostly them. A lot of them are out of work, and now coming back here, there's another problem. Most of their hometowns are scared to let them back because of health concerns and our health facilities, But of course, we are doing everything, our government. And kaya nga sabi ko, I told Ma'am Betty, I'm suggesting that we also can we tackle the issues of the OFW, especially the health concerns? Kasi many of them are now, they don't have jobs. They have been in quarantine for more than a month, many of them, and they cannot go home. Of course, there's already stress anxiety, and like what Monique said, there are a lot of uncertainties right now, no, and these are breadwinners. So now that we know that these are problems, because Monique is also an advocate of mental health and also beautyism, and she is also artist, what's that? Makeup artist also, and she's very talented. So let's
Hi, thank you.
yeah, we want to hear, of course, because you have first-hand experience with this, with our beloved modern-day heroes. So, can you first give us an update of their current, like physical? I mean, not only physical, because we know that, the psychological situation of many of them right now.
Well, definitely, even before the pandemic, we always take seriously homesickness. It's so hard to be away from your family to begin with. So all the more now with so much uncertainty, not knowing how to provide, not knowing when you will be able to return to your family, or if you are able to return to your family, being yeah, so struggling together. Um, so it does cause a lot of anxiety and depression. It's an overload of not knowing what to do. And for the ones that you mentioned under quarantine, um, there have been some delays with some of those guys uh,
Mm.
because of the sheer number that came home.
Mm.
And so
I
they're
understand
all
a lot of, yeah, I understand a lot of them were stranded, diba? And I don't
yeah.
know how true. Kawawa nga, diba? You see them daw, along the road in the airport.
Mm-mm. Yes, we refer to those as the locally stranded individuals or
Yeah,
LSIs.
that's right.
So those are the
Mm.
ones that they were applying to work and they were not deployed anymore due to
Mm.
lockdowns that were
Correct. That's
imposed.
right.
Parang
Oh,
na-stuck
uh-huh.
either
Okay.
PCR or other areas.
Mm. And some of them were displaced,
Mm-hmm.
because they lost their jobs, so they want to go back home to their home.
Yes.
Almost similar
Mm-hmm.
cases, except that OFWs are from faraway places, from foreign lands. Ito namang
Mm-mm.
LSI natin, this is from all over Metro Manila or the nearby provinces, and they also want to go home. No? The thing is, of course,
Mm-hmm.
with the pandemic, yung COVID-19 has become more viral now because they're camped together in army camps, in the road. There's no more social distancing. They share toilets. So when it is OWs, when you go there to provide welfare for them, so how do you combine your mental health advocacy, and how do you give your care for them, and how do they respond to it?
Well, on top of our usual welfare assistance, where we intercede on behalf of their requests for assistance with different government agencies, I we do make it a point to try and talk them through and reassure them that we're here anytime that they need to talk to someone. They have someone to listen to them, and we understand what they're going through. And in our past programs, for example, with some of the solo parents, whether OFWs or not, we would do programs to let them feel beautiful again. We would do makeover programs. We would give them little livelihood assistance
Okay.
so that they can feel like they have purpose again, feel beautiful again. Because I
Mm-hmm.
truly believe that if you look good, then you feel good.
Yeah.
At the same time, with talking to them, if you are able to process your emotions,
Mhm.
then it alleviates your even your physical stress and your physical health.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
It
That's
follows
great.
eh.
Come on, Brittany.
Tama
Come
si
on.
Monique eh. It follows eh. When you feel good, di ba? Like for
Yeah.
example, even us when we go to the office, when we don't feel like working, so we dress up, right? So after we dress up, then we get that feel already that okay, I have to go to work, so I have to work better today, So it's really it's really trying to treat the root cause of the problem, diba? To in most especially for I think Monique also was talking about the solo parents naman. So that's another
Yeah.
another societal problem. We
Mhm.
actually we're actually trying to work with Quezon City solo parents, pero we hopefully maybe we can work together on that, Monique, para
Yes,
maano na
definitely.
namin. We got in touch with the solo parents before. So, ayun. So, buti na lang because of the pandemic, medyo we're going digital. I think we will be able to solve more problems because of this digital thing. So,
It's
how
a
Yes, I hope.
lockdown. Yeah.
about,
Yes, ma'am.
about with the OFWs? They go to you and then like for example, kunyari, if I were an OFW and then I come home and then I find out that my husband with another one or something. So how do you go about solving the problems?
Well, I don't know if I can say that we solve the problems, but how we help is
Sige.
we provide them with a
Mhm.
support group, and as
Mhm.
mentioned, we give them means to feel purpose again, whether it be through negosyo or livelihood.
Mhm.
Then
Mhm.
letting them be beautified. We do we had
Mhm.
a program called Love Yourself or Simula
Oh, that's
sa
good.
Sarili, and
Yeah.
we gave them full makeovers. We gave them a photo shoot so that they have a keepsake, and so that they're
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
they can be empowered and reminded about who they once were before they took on so many problems. So
Mhm.
that's some of the
Mhm.
things that we've been doing.
Oh, very
Cute
simple
naman.
pero
Eh,
very
how about naman
effective,
for
no? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. How about naman for those who have problem with their children naman? That's another, 'di ba? That's another aspect of the family that we have to deal with when you're separated from home.
Yeah. Homesickness.
So, oo. So, how do you have any program for their children or for for hmm,
We are always looking for ways to help. As aside from the OFW Family Club NGO, we are also connected. We are also a party list. We're nice as a party list, so
Mhm.
um,
mhm,
we do have educational programs. But
for
on the welfare aspect, I know we need to do more, and we're always open for
mhm,
ideas on that.
mhm, yeah. Kasi
Oh, but yeah.
because the
Yes, we
mind
will
is so
take.
powerful. Diba? The
Yeah.
mind is so powerful that it affects both the OFW, it affects the spouse, and it also
Mhm.
has a different
Mhm.
effect on the children, right? So
Yes,
so how do
Okay.
for the
mother
successful,
is a
let's go
struggle.
to successful OFWs who have had problems about the mental health aspect. How do you
Mhm.
think were they able to overcome their health issues?
Okay. Can we take a break before Monique can answer that? Yes, it's 12:19. Hold on to that thought. Don't forget that question. We will just be taking a break. Okay.
Uh,
Okay. We'll be
Yes.
back
Noted.
in just a few minutes. Yeah, we have to take a pause for a while. Okay, we'll be back in just a bit.
Kung puso ang problema, break the bad habits. Move on na para sa healthy heartbeats. A big 5-0. Tara na, let's all be fit. Mega healthy sa Omega 963. Para sa heart nutrient deficiency. Sa big 5-0, strong Sa Big 5-0, puso mo ay alagang-alaga. Anak, anong gusto mong juice? Anak, anong gusto mong juice?
Ang gusto ko, veggie juice kasi gusto juice, gusto ng lahat. Ang veggie juice na papasigla ng katawan. Nasa gusto na ang lahat. May gulay na, may prutas pa. Ito na ang sustansya. Vitamin ay kumpleto. Ikaw ma, gusto mo?
Uminom na ng isang baso ng sustansya. Kompletong sigla para sa ating pamilya. Gusto Veggie Juice, your yummy veggie drink. No approved therapeutic claims.
And we are back. That was quick, diba? Sorry, we have to take that. Para tayo nasa...
Okay, anyway.
Mason TV. Okay, so that question again. Yeah.
For these ones that overcame
Ayan.
their mental issues.
Oo.
I would
Yes, kasi di ba we'd like to learn from success of others.
Yeah, right.
It sounds a bit bittersweet or melodramatic, but sometimes you do have to hit rock bottom before you realize that there's only one other direction, which is up again. So I feel like a lot of those success stories were the ones that came from almost a state of hopelessness, and then they were able to find a purpose again. And maybe a lot of it does have to do with their children. If we're talking about the solo parents,
Correct.
that's their guiding light.
Yeah, because it's
So parang
absent
ano,
parents. They're gone. They're away from the kids, diba? Only guardians or caretakers, or especially Lola and Lola, who have tendencies to spoil their kids.
So it's parang like breaking off from a habit, like kunyari, for smoking, sabi nila, you have to quit cold turkey. So in much the same way, when you have a mental problem, so dapat ikaw din yung magsasabi na hindi, starting tomorrow, this is what I'll do. Okay, diba? Parang everything still has to come from the self, no? So people
Yes.
just have to learn to realize na, oh, may pag-asa pa naman, in other words, right? So, okay, so that's one good point for our, yung mga nag-iisip dyan ng kung ano-ano. So, what we should do is to find the purpose, diba? Monique, you were saying, when you have found your purpose na then you start living. You start to, work towards your goal, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
good.
would say also finding coping mechanisms, whether it is a hobby, an outlet, knowing and identifying what causes your depression or your mental state. If it's dating back to your childhood, sometimes it's layers and layers of trauma that was never processed. So being able to identify what it is.
Yeah. Why do you think is that important when you have, when you sense something like a mental health issue from a certain person, like these people that you reach out to, the OFWs and solo parents. So how do you detect that these are, the problems, and why do you think it's important to go back to that, that at certain point in time, diba, where they have this issue? So why is it important to connect the present and the past?
I believe that when you are numb to a certain emotion or a certain trauma for so long, it will manifest in a different way, either through your physical health status, or sometimes if you are a hurt person, you will end up hurting other people because it's easier to be angry. You will have rage or so I think it manifests in other characteristics. It manifests in how a person handles or does not handle some life situations, like maybe the smallest things are discouraging, or they just use being so busy as a coping mechanism. But then when
Mhm.
something like this pandemic hits, where they have to stop
Mhm.
everything, then they
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
how to deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. You have to identify first, get to know the root of the cause, yeah, the root of the problem, no?
The root cause. Actually, it's true that people really have many childhood hang-ups, tawag nila doon.
Um,
Na, well, yeah, you have to learn to resolve the issue, accept the issue, diba?
acceptance,
Yeah,
yeah.
wala, tapos na yun eh. It happened
Mhm.
already. So, our life just has to move on, diba? Accept it, and parang ano yun eh, na, di ba when you're sick, there's a denial stage, and then there's an acceptance stage, and then you treat the problem. So at
Mhm.
least, nagkakaroon ng pag-asa, di ba, yung problema na mas sobra.
Mm,
Mhm.
correct, correct.
Huh. And so, how about naman financial issues ng mga OFWs natin? Madami rin ba?
Oh yes, that is probably a top issue at the moment.
Mhm.
Uh, that really trickles down to so many other problems around them. But yeah,
Mhm.
so many were terminated from work, or no work, no pay. They don't know when they will work again.
Mm.
Um,
So
I don't
dapat
want to.
talaga they should so they should be trained to save, 'di ba? So they
Yes.
should learn to save, have, and tapos yung mga nandito naman, ako wag naman sila hingi ng hingi, you know. It's as if naman they're mining gold, you know, abroad. What people here do not understand is, they have to work their butt off. Some
Yeah,
have to, yeah, di ba? Yung iba
double
hindi nga
jobs. Yeah.
natutulog, yeah,
Mm.
yung iba natotorture. Kaya nga nagkakaroon din ng mental problem yung yung mga OFWs kasi nga hindi nakakatulog ng mabuti.
Correct.
Kasi
Yeah.
Monique, I always like to teach people that, in order to be healthy, you should realize that you have to do three things. One is you have to sleep well, you have to eat well, and you have to cook well. You have to eliminate well. If you can do
Mm.
those three things, then you're relatively healthy na rin. You'll be able to solve a lot of problems. Yun. So anyway, mahirap pag-usapan ng pera. It's a sensitive issue. But still, people should learn how to save. And on the other hand, people here also na must also learn how to help them, 'di ba? Na parang
Yeah.
each
Yeah.
one of us, yeah. Kasi sa hirap ng buhay ngayon, most especially during the pandemic, dapat you should be able to, unless you are a minor, you should able to provide for yourself. Otherwise,
Yes. Yeah.
pahirap ang buhay, 'di ba? Mahirapan ang lahat ng tao. So, it also do you think it is also this pandemic is a blessing in disguise for some of our OFWs? Kasi madaming realizations that happens, 'di ba, during a pandemic.
Mm-mm. I think so. As difficult and as painful as it is, I think there are some blessings in disguise, and I'm glad that you mentioned that the family here should also be more understanding and learn to lend a hand, because it's in our culture. There's a breadwinner that will care for the whole family, but I think it's also high time that we make sure that each family member is educated and capable.
And
And
also able to help, no, in some
yes,
way, we cannot
Oo.
just anchor everything on a certain person, especially yung mga OFWs natin or mga migrants Filipino migrants in the other countries, no. Kasi, and also we have a thinking na medyo may pagka milking cow, and now they're beginning to realize that this is just all about the money or the pasalubong. Now the governments are not, I mean the local governments, the barangays, the relatives are not really welcoming them back, now that they're in big trouble, no, di ba? So I have a
Parang
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Parang
15
wake up
minutes.
call yan eh, di ba?
Yeah.
Na you should realize that you might not have your job forever. Di ba? Kagaya nito, pandemic, biglang pinauwi lahat eh, di ba? So,
Mm-mm.
ay. At
And
anyway,
then,
so
and
hopefully,
marami pa yan. Yeah.
oo. But I like the attitude of Filipinos eh, nakakatawa. Well, it came as a joke, no, na, di ba, in other countries, they try to solve, pero yung sa Filipinos, they started selling things.
Oh, yeah.
So, very consumer-driven, very consumer-driven ang
Mm.
ano, even
Resilient
like
talaga
our,
tayo.
even like our employees, a lot of them went into cooking food, at least to survive. Ano, so,
Yes, good to see everyone finding ways.
Correct.
diba? So, parang
So,
biglang na-realize ng some people, magaling pala ako magluto, di ba? Or even if hindi magaling, at least if you try, for people who do not know how to cook, at least, di ba, you have a livelihood. Hindi ka rin pabigat sa sa mga relatives mo. So right now, I think one of the important thing is to be able to support yourself, and not be a pabigat, 'di ba? Tawag nila doon, not be a pabigat to the family. Kasi kundi,
Self-reliant.
tulong
parang
po.
everybody should contribute para mabuhay yung pamilya. Otherwise, ganun lang yun, 'di ba? Ayun. So,
Eh, yes. I have a question regarding I mean ito lang yung when what could be a good like a good coping mechanism for OFWs kasi nga now we've seen how fast an emergency can arise. No? This pandemic has really caught everybody off guard, di ba? So when you have kasi nga lack of money talagang causes a lot of stress even in couples, in families, in relatives. This is a natural, a human thing, no? So what can be a good coping mechanism that you can advise, Monique, for as you yourself have done, because you're di ba, just a mental health advocate, a practitioner, di ba? So and also encountering a lot of people like this.
Well, definitely it's important to never feel like you're alone and try to find someone to talk to. If it's okay, I also have helplines that I've found over time,
Yes, yes.
and some are new. There's a Facebook page called Ugat Sandaline page. That's Ugat as in, yeah, UGAT Sandaline page. So every day they have a program, and this is
Sandalan.
yes,
Sige lang.
this is
I will try to
specifically
share it.
for OFWs amidst COVID. So there's a counseling program, and then you can also message anytime. And then there is the Hope Line. This is a 24/7 suicide prevention hotline by the DOH, World Health Organization, and Natasha Goldborn Foundation. So the numbers for that, yes, that's the Ugat Sandalan. So Hope Line, there are mobile numbers and landline numbers. It's 2919 for Globe and TM subscribers. And there's a text line 0917 558 4673.
Okay, so what's the other
It's
help?
called
That's Hope
Hope Line.
Hope Line.
Yes.
Okay. Hope Line. Hope Line Philippines, is that the one? Hope Line
let's say
Philippines.
parang a counseling, it's a counseling,
Okay, so you can take note
group.
of this. Para yan. Hope Line. Is that the one?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Okay, one life, one call. Okay, at least they know what to look for when they need help. Because we are not alone. If you are encountering, anxiety, mental health issues, for all we know, our next door neighbor is already encountering that, or somebody close to us, diba? We just have to be aware and also be open to help. I think one important thing is, giving time to listen to their problems, like when somebody like, yeah, especially the OFWs, no, in this time of pandemic, syempre they need somebody to, somebody to listen to their problems, di ba? Hindi pwede yung just shove them off, di ba? So, yun, are you encountering a lot of this ba, Monique, in your, like, in
Oh
OFW family? And are you guys
yeah.
open to that? Maybe they want to get in touch with you also, especially those under
Yeah.
your care. Okay.
We're always open to receive messages and to talk everything through. The hope line and the Ugatan line, that's just if they would like to talk to a professional, because we don't claim ourselves to be professionals, but we're always here to listen. We also formed support groups, like uh, depending on the area in the world, like either it's the Middle East or it's Europe, even locally, we have different support groups so that they can find others that are facing similar problems, so that they can relate to one another.
I'm
So
sharing the
yeah,
screen now para lang they will know what to look for. Ayan, no? OFW Family Club. Oh, that's your husband there, si Roy. Si MC Roy.
him.
And si ano yun? Congressman, no? Si isa, congressman. Pacquiao. Oh no, is that, sorry.
That's my late
Oh
father-in-law.
yeah, your father-in-law. Yeah, Ambassador, great Ambassador Seneres. Okay.
It
So
was just
they
his.
can get in touch with you through that Facebook page if they need. If they're OFW, especially those who are outside the country, they can still get in touch with you. Is that an open
Yeah,
line 24/7?
yes
Okay.
po.
OFWs lang ba ang pwedeng mag-member dyan?
No, if we have a lot of members na it's either the family member of the OFW. Some are not. They just believe in the cause. So open naman for that.
How about
Teka ha?
volunteers?
Ayan,
Pwede din
pwede mo.
you can accept
Like a counselor,
volunteers.
yeah. We
Sure,
have
why not?
we have a friend or viewer, so okay natin to from Mindanao, si Rama Mohammed. Good afternoon po sa lahat. Thank you for tuning in. If you
Afternoon
want to
po,
pose some
Rama.
questions, maayong hapon na. Ayan. So, teka, i-hide ko na muna siya ulit. Oh, okay. Ayan. So si Ma'am Betty, we might have another question.
Uh, I was
Or
just
input.
thinking lang about I remembered one experience na I think kawawa yung the OFW. One time I was at the NBI making a complaint. Tapos may na-meet ako doon. I don't know why there are a lot of scammers who want to skim off money from the OFWs. So, I don't know. Oh, ang dami niyan, especially yung mga grabe no, even 10,000 pesos pinapatos nila. So, as long as they can, as long as they can get so hopefully and then kasi that will add, as Monique said nga, there are a lot of financial issues din na nagiging root ng mga problem. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think if they can be more prudent, with their money, and then they can actually nga they can set I would really like to advise the OFWs to set aside a portion of their money for themselves.
Yeah.
Kasi nga, yeah, once they send everything home, and something like this happens, di ba, the pandemic, di paano na yan? Lahat sila gutom. There's no, the OFW, syempre, dahil siya yung naghirap dun sa pera na yon, she will value more the savings. So, hopefully, some of them will keep something for themselves, and the family members naman will not take it against the OFW na nagtatago siya ng pera kasi siya yung nagtrabaho para doon di ba?
Opo. Tama po.
Ayan. So,
Si Ma'am is a financial manager din. Financial planner din si Ma'am Betty kasi.
We're changing a little bit of the mindset, diba, of the OFWs, including the family members. Kasi yun na naisip ko, palagi sasabihin nila, madaming problema. Well, yung problema kasi ginawa din ninyo di ba? So, and also the fact, kaya nga, in financial planning, dapat pati asawa, kasama the children, the spouse, everybody in the family have to be together when they do a financial plan. Pero anyway, medyo that's another long topic to discuss.
That's right.
So,
But still, a problem.
Sa mental issues naman, I don't know how just by being a member of OFW Family Club, hopefully the OFWs will be able to share their experiences, diba? So, like, do you, naka-chapter kayo in countries?
Yes po. We have local at overseas chapters.
Okay. And then they help naman each other, diba? Kung there are many aspects naman they can help in. But
Very
as you
active so, sorry.
Yeah. It's okay. I think as you've said, the important thing is the coping. I also believe one, kasi everything has come from the self. How do you think, what could you give a tip on what are the specific coping tools that our OFWs can use or can, so that they will be able to overcome the many problems that they have?
Well, it sounds very simple and it might not sound so useful, but something as simple as breathing techniques and taking the time to exert physical exercise, although sometimes they're over fatigued, so that's hard for some of them. But finding little ways to make themselves feel good, either just doing something nice for themselves privately, talking to someone that they trust.
Or sometimes they reward themselves, no?
Yeah. You need to reward yourself every now and then.
Para hindi naman feeling kawawa naman ako, trabaho ng trabaho, right? Okay. And probably the mindset nga. The mindset is probably they can at first start with what goal they have, right? So they just work towards that goal. Kung wala dun sa goal na yon, huwag na nilang gawin. Correct? So aside from the mental issues, the monetary issues, what other problems do OFW have to contend with?
Well, at the moment, aside from repatriation, there's a big issue with respect to the shipment of remains of different OFWs. That's another big issue at the moment. which also contributes to mental health. Um,
Yeah.
Really, just being away from the family to begin with. It's not easy to be away from your family and being in a different culture, having to adjust to a whole other culture.
Yeah, mm. Well, at least for the family, siguro now we have a solution na, alam mo, tayo nga, we can do Zoom meeting. So, probably they can also do Zoom meetings at home with their family members. Right?
Right. Yes, that's what we do with my family every Sunday morning, 4 a.m. because different time zones. Yeah. We have a
Mm.
video call chat for an hour prayer. It's so good because of this technology. We can do that, and we have a lot of time because most of us are at home, so we might as well do that. No? So, so how about your ano pala si Monique for the past three months, no? You've been there lang, reaching out. Of course, you've been busy also going out, reaching out to the OFWs. Pero how have you been coping up with this pandemic? Because your family serves the OFW, and it's a party list. Kasama dyan kasi yung ano her husband is also helping out crafting some resolutions in the Congress, di ba? And receiving calls every 24/7 hotline open, di ba? So how are you coping up? Also raising up a teenager and two Gen Zs, no? Very talented Gen Zs.
Well, for the longest time, we had hoped that we would have more time at home, and now we really, really we have had more than enough time at home. But we always remind ourselves na even if it's harder to unplug from work if you're at home, because at any time you just receive calls, you're not distracted with other lakads. Just remind ourselves that this is what we always wanted: more time at home, more time to be with the kids. Because before all of this, they were busy with school, and we would only really be together on the weekend, and sometimes not even then. So just having an attitude of gratitude, that's helpful. And I have a lot of small side hobbies now. Like I started planting vegetables, and I still create a lot of content for my other businesses like Beautyism, as you mentioned, and just turning to music and some leisure things, taking time to unplug.
Yeah, singing also, no? Singing online. I think I saw some of your posts before, early on during the lockdown.
Kaya nga, no matter, sabi nga nila if a person is let's say, well-rounded, very stable person, kahit na saan mo ilagay, makakahanap at makakahanap din ng pwedeng gawin.
That's
Right?
right.
And, when you are doing something, it, hindi ka siguro magkakaroon ng mental issues kasi busy ka Right?
It takes your mind off yourself, di ba?
Yes,
overthinking is also bad, di ba? It also
and then
causes
you tend to achieve something. So that one, it contributes to the mental well-being of the person. So siguro yung mga OFWs sabi ko nga yung mga OFWs natin ngayon na on a floating status, maybe we can find them some work or how they can help. Kasi especially with their experience abroad, I'm pretty sure they can come up with something. And
world-class experience.
Yeah, correct. Except yun lang, wag lang sila mag-expect na that their pay will be like before. Sa pandemic, di ba? Ayun. So, at least they are able. Kaya we understand they have the skills, pero they should not take it against themselves that if they don't get the same pay that they are getting before. Kasi that will add to their mental stress din, di ba? Pag yung kunyari, iniisip mo, dapat ganito status ko ganito level ko, right? And then, bakit ganito lang ang binibigay sa akin? I hope they just understand that that's what our countrymen can afford at the moment, di ba? So, parang it's a double purpose. They can help our society. They contribute to Philippine economy on their own, even if they don't have work, diba? But they are also helping themselves. So, yun na nga. Right? Especially yung ganyan, mga Zoom meeting, kung minsan nga, libre na nga eh.
Yeah, maraming free webinars nga, trainings, yeah.
Basta short
has a lot of
time. So, you know, they never know. Once they think of something, they might come up with a new venture. Malay mo, they can stay home now without going abroad. Right?
Yeah, in fact, I saw in their page, while I was trying to screen share, I saw this, OFW, one of their services, Family Club, Reintegration Solutions. Yeah, so they can, how can they avail of this? This can also ease up a lot of, mental stress, and especially if it's monetary or money based, which is of course common to all of us. Okay, how can they avail of it?
Initial reintegration program, we have partnered with a company called iFranchise, and under this program, you can become a co-owner or a shareholder of a gas station with a one-stop shop. And that one-stop shop is going to be all Filipino products. So we wanted to have ways for our Filipino products to be championed there. In order to join, they can inquire on the OFW Family Club Reintegration Solutions page.
Yeah, that's right. You can go to the page
That's a good
OFW
program.
Family Club, and there's a link going to this. Teka, I'll try to share. Sige, while you're talking about it, I'll try to screen share it again. This can be a big help kasi OFWs, repatriated, even locals, na nawalan ng trabaho or nawalan ng na-display. So this can be a good way, para ma-gain,
reintegrate.
Yeah, maging productive again. Yeah. Search for that. OFW Family Club, and they have that link there. OFW Family
Reintegration Solutions.
So we actually started this even before the pandemic. Actually, it was put on halt because of the pandemic for a while. But we are accepting inquiries again. It was our idea of how to bring home our OFWs for good so that they no longer have to be away from their families.
That's right. That's good. That's a good option. Yeah. You can be a business entrepreneur or a part owner, shareholder.
Yes. So this is complete with the training, how to, from start to finish, all areas of the business. iFranchise does all the training. So they actually have an 80% success rate pagdating sa mga franchise.
They have a track record na, and they have a good formula for sure, a template that they can share. Okay, so all W's listening out there, watching, take this opportunity, diba? Especially if you've been displaced and you have a small, a small savings, diba? And you want to do this, FW Family Club can help you. And, we all want our Filipino overseas to really be back here integrated into our society, diba? Even if,
anyway, there's always a purpose naman Raymond. I always like to think of it this way kasi when you work abroad, you learn also. That's a learning experience. So Well, you are there, you make the most, learn from it, earn from it, and then
Mhm.
with the end goal na in the future you are coming home.
Yun,
So
yeah.
there's no place
Better,
like
yeah.
home eh.
Yep,
Yeah,
of course, of course. Retire
pero
here.
syempre,
Mhm.
well, sad to say, mahirap nga talaga ang buhay sa Philippines, especially with 100 million people. You really have to be
109.
super
109
109
na pala
na.
tayo.
Ay, nako. So, you have to be very creative, di ba? To be creative
Yeah.
on how you are going to survive. So, okay
True.
lang naman. Kasi when you go abroad din, kasi it's also nice to know. You know, when you meet them, when you see them, you will, alam mo, feel mo naman na, well, we are happy kasi tayo, we're traveling lang naman. So, we meet a kababayan, we're happy. But then when you interview them, sometimes you also feel happy for them. Kasi nga,
Mhm.
they, although some of them have already uh, integrated actually sa abroad,
The
diba?
foreign
Some of
country,
them they
yeah.
marry, oo,
Mm.
some of them
There's
they
the
marry,
families there
ano,
also.
oo, right, oo. Kasi kung doon naman ka talaga dadalhin ng destiny
Mhm.
mo, what can you do? But then, in any circumstance, parang it would be nice for them to just learn. Sabi nga nila, live in the now. You learn from the experience of what you have, and then make the most use and be happy. Diba?
Mhm.
Sabi ko nga, everything, at the end of the day, everything kailangan grateful tayo kung
Mhm. Right.
what we have. Even if we have problems, we should be grateful kasi it gives us a chance, to strengthen ourselves when we have a problem. So, sana, I think, we hope we are able to change the mindset of our OFWs para
Mhm.
medyo positive naman ng konti.
Yes.
They get something good out of whatever experience they encounter. 'Di ba?
Mhm.
Tama ba ako, Monique?
Yes.
Kasi kayo,
Yeah.
you're exposed to so many.
Monique,
Kasi I'm
yeah,
not
Monique said
exposed
that
to
also, mentioned that earlier, gratefulness, acceptance and gratefulness, no? In
To
whatever
be present.
situation. To
That's
be
a very good
present.
point.
Yeah.
mm-mm.
It's a once in a lifetime experience. If that can be your perspective instead of a, a sad outlook.
Mm. Yeah. Sabi nga nila, sometimes it's because you are chosen to be one. So, not everybody can be an OFW sa totoo lang, di ba?
Mhm.
A lot
That's
of
right.
people take
Many
life.
tried, and many failed to go out.
Yes, correct. Diba? Not everybody can go abroad and be given that opportunity. So when they have it, they should value it and make the most out of it. Pero yun na nga, hopefully in the end, they come home uh, and contribute to the Philippines naman, 'di ba?
Mhm.
Kasi hindi naman lahat sa lahat ng department, they're very skilled professionals also.
Mhm.
So I'm happy a lot of them they come back and enjoy their retirement in the Philippines.
Mhm. That's right. Medyo upper level kasi yung mga OFWs natin, nasa skilled tayo. Skilled and professional levels. So, I saw in
Pero
the news,
even
no, marami pa lang mga sa Middle East, mga from Africa and India na mga talagang parang halos slave na. Sila yung talaga yung parang laborer doon, informal labor laborers.
yeah.
So the
In
Filipinos are
India,
higher in terms of ano naman, of level,
mm,
work level. So that's a good one.
siguro,
Very soft.
well, other
Yeah.
countries are learning also na kailangan nilang i-export din yung mga tao nila. Kasi like in Bangladesh, ang dami. Kung pagpunta mo ng
Mm.
airport nila, alauna ng umaga, ang dami pa rin sumasakay sa eroplano because they work
Bro,
also abroad.
oh, bro, yeah. I think
Mm-mm.
we were
Pero
the
yun
first.
nga,
The Filipinos were the first.
they're the more low-skilled na
Yeah, that's
nakachinik
right. Mm-hmm.
but still, 'di ba, they survive. So at the end of the day, it's still a survival mechanism that we should have. Uh,
Mm.
but
That's right.
ang mga Pilipino we have a program ito, OFWs. Yun nga lang, some of them lang hindi lang nila alam kung saan, 'di ba? And as long as they don't give into the scammers, I think our OFWs will be well provided for. Tama. Most especially with people like with
If it's
people
not
like
too
Monique.
good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah, it's a scam. Yeah.
Oo, right.
Don't be
Oo.
tempted with with so much profit or for short, di ba? Yung get rich quick schemes, no? Yeah.
Oo.
People
Ayun.
who fall for that. Yeah. That. So it's already 1 o'clock actually. So we will take a break. Yeah, and after we take a break, we'll be wrapping up, and of course, we will ask Monique for some good advice for our OFWs who are experiencing, this prolonged lockdown. So, guys, don't go away. We will be back in just a jiffy.
Anak, anong gusto mong juice? Ang gusto ko, veggie juice kasi... Gusto juice, gusto ng lahat. Ang veggie juice na pampasigla ng katawan. Nasa gusto na ang lahat. May gulay na, may prutas pa. Ito na ang sustansya. Vitamin ay kumpleto. Ikaw ma, gusto mo? Uminom na ng isang baso ng sustansya. Kumpletong sigla para sa ating pamilya. Gusto Veggie Juice, your yummy veggie drink. No approved therapeutic claims.
Ikaw ba ay may problema dahil sa bad bacteria? Mayroong solusyon para sa'yo, huwag mag-alala. Subukan mo na para may good digestion ka. Ha, happy life sa Itin Biota. Itin Biota, para laging masabi ako dyan.
Kinilala ang kalidad ng Berry Gluta sa katatapos pa lang na 3rd Outstanding Men and Women of the Year Philippines 2019. Sa galingan ng Berry Gluta sa beauty and wellness industry, hinirang ito bilang Philippines Brand of the Year.
Congratulations to Berry Gluta, one of the awardee of the Philippine Outstanding Brand of the Year.
This is Innovations Gateway. We'll be launching the first and only hexagonal and berry-coated gluta tablet in the Philippines, which is Berry Gluta.
Ang Berry Gluta ay powered ng 5-in-1 skincare formulation.
It is composed of glutathione with rose petal extract, which is a Japanese patent ingredient, plus acai berry, and then vitamin C and inulin as its prebiotics.
Ang Berry Gluta ay malapit ng mabili sa leading drugstores nationwide.
Berry Gluta. Lutang ang iyong dagdag.
Mahalagang paalaala, ang Berry Gluta ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamiting panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
All right, we are back. Ayun, no? So, as we wrap up,
Sorry.
yan, si Monique will be sharing her thoughts and siguro shout out din naman, no? Marami naghihintay sa'yo. And also your good advice.
Baka madami ng fans si Monique.
Marami nag-share nga nung post.
Excuse me.
Okay.
I guess final advice I can give is whether your type of mental state is there's usually two angles to it. Either hindi ka motivated, you don't feel like doing anything, or you need to do so much and you need to keep so busy. So whichever one that is, don't be so hard on yourself. Celebrate even small successes, even just getting up for the day, even just completing a task. Be very proud of yourself and take the time to run through everything that you should be grateful for, any blessings in your life. Always find someone that you trust, that you can talk to, so that you can try and work through your problems. And don't just take it upon yourself. If you're not the type of person that's used to talking to someone else, try to keep a journal. Try to write it down and process by yourself. And yeah, just find ways to make yourself feel good, whether it is having a hobby, having a workout. For those that suffer abuse, um, for some reason, it causes guilt within themselves as if they deserved it, or they feel shame. They don't want to tell anyone, but please know that it's not your fault, and you should talk about it. You should find a way to address it. So I suppose that is my final advice.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Words of wisdom from Monique. Kita
Yeah.
natin, she's a practitioner, walking the talk.
Oh, correct. Yeah. Thank you very much, Monique, for those wonderful advice. And I'm pretty sure if we follow those advices, they will end up as beautiful as you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah.
for your time, Monique, for also
Thank you
the
so
words
much
of
for having
wisdom. Their family is always very supportive yan pa sa mga advocacies, things that can help, especially our OFWs. They're ano, very close sa heart nila yan. So thank you.
Oh,
God bless your
yeah.
family. And yeah, Ma'am
Yeah.
Betty,
Thank
thank
you.
you also. And would you like to, siguro next week na lang tayo FYI dun sa iba natin mga big, no? Big problem. Okay?
Yes. Yeah. Kasi it was an interesting talk this morning
Yes.
with Monique. And I hope that we will you will all join us again next Wednesday. That's at 12:05 to 1:05, and I think we'll put up for it so that they can, if they miss it, they can also look at
Yes.
that in the future, diba? So,
Meron pa.
I hope
Yeah.
you're all with us, with our advocacy
Yeah,
to help
thank you.
everybody through our health revolution. See you
Thank
next
you.
week.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye, guys. Thank you, guys. You can watch this on demand sa YouTube, sa Facebook. Thank you so much. God bless. Bye for now.